here to help you with breeze. Planting seeds and teaching skills. Teachers turn schoolyards to dreams. Who hate school gardens with ease?
What does clean and accessible water mean to you, your school garden, and your community? You are listening to School Gardens with Ease podcast, and this is episode number 42. I'm your host, Leila Mireskandari, and I'm excited about this episode because it's a special episode, my way of giving back by participating in the Podcasthon, the third edition of Podcasthon. What is that, you ask? For one whole week, more than 1,000 podcasters will highlight their charity of their choice. And I am today really happy to introduce you to my favorite charity called Charity Water. Now, why is Charity Water my favorite charity? For many, many reasons. First of all, I really like their 100% model. They have arranged for private donors to cover their operational costs so that 100% of our donations goes to clean water. I think it is in this world where we don't really trust charities, and for good reasons too, unfortunately, it's really refreshing to see a charity to not only try, but also is essentially founded on this promise that every cent of our donations goes directly to the cause. But also, I think it's smart that they don't spend our money on what's usually called overhead, and therefore they essentially don't have to cut corners on their operational costs, and that helps them to go really far, really fast, because when a charity can actually pay for salaries and things like that easily, and they don't have to worry about overcost and reporting on that, then they go far and they go fast, because it's really so much you could do by relying only on volunteers. And the number of charities that mismanage our donations, oh my goodness. I mean, I can go on and on and on about my personal experience with charities that made me feel like cheated on. But let's not do that. Let's not go there. It's not time for venting, because we have really constructive and important topics to talk about on this episode. So that's one of the reasons that I really love Charity Water. But most importantly, I love it because they are trying to solve the world's water crisis, and water matters to me big time as an environmentalist, as a permaculture designer, as an educator, and as a gardener. Water matters, and essentially simply as a human who cares. Water is very, very important topic on this planet. Think about your school gardens. And I want you to go right to the biggest concern that you all have about your school gardens. What is it? Summer maintenance, isn't it? And what's the biggest, single most important summer chore that worries you the most? It must be watering, right? Why is that? Because all of your plants that are most probably annual vegetables, they cannot survive without water, not more than 3 days. And watering is the only chore, unfortunately, that cannot be completely eliminated during summertime. Unless you have really complicated watering equipments, which are usually expensive and most of your schools cannot afford them. And even those need supervision and maintenance to some extent. And that's something that you do not want to put up with, probably. Every other chore, like think of any other chore, they can all be eliminated. Weeding can be, fertilizing, cleanups, even pest and disease management can be completely eliminated by good design, good plant selection, good timing, good placement, and all of that good stuff, right? But watering, that's different. Even though it can, by good design, be reduced to up to 80%, but it cannot be completely eliminated. In fact, I am soon releasing a brand new class called School Gardens with Almost No Summer Maintenance. And can you guess why I had to use the word almost in that title? Because of watering. And water matters, and it's really, really important for the health of your school garden. It won't be the end of the world if a weed or two find their way into your garden and they're not weeded out, but it is the end of your garden if you do not consistently and generously water it during summertime. And as our food-producing plants, drink up that water and bring it to their leaves and fruit and stems and everywhere that we later consume, it's important that that water is clean water. As school gardens are educational tools, it's important that we teach the science behind growing food to our students. And water, the water cycle, its impact, as well as, our impact on it and on its cycle and distribution on this planet are matters that needs to be discussed with kids. Did you know that 703 million people lack access to clean water around the world? And I know that you probably your mind's going to Africa and places like that. But did you know that many of those people are much, much closer to home than we can even imagine? And did you know that how easily the water, the clean water you and I drink in this part of the world can get contaminated? Are you discussing these concepts with your students? Are you opening their minds in your class? On the flip side of things, did you know that planting local, organic, and regenerative gardens has a significant positive impact on water cycles on the planet? Are you discussing how forests impact water cycles and how Earth filters our water for us? These are important matters to discuss. Kids need to know. I think you should. Every Oasis gardening program of mine has at least one complete lesson dedicated to water. And did you know that clean water and basic sanitation can save around 16,000 lives every week? That's 2,285 more than people per day, over 95 per hour, and that's 1.5 per minute. And if you believe that every life matters, then water should matter to you. It changes everything. It's important. And that's why this is my favorite charity. Go check out their site at charitywater.org and become a part of the solution. They make it super easy for you and I to be part of the solution. And that wraps up this episode about as part of the Podcasthon. If you enjoyed it, feel free to go and check their website on podcasthon.org, where you can discover hundreds of other voices and other charities through the talents of really amazing podcasters. Keep your eyes peeled and ears opened for my brand new School Gardens with Almost No Summer Maintenance class that's coming up soon. All of the links, as usual, are in the show notes, and I will see you next week in another episode. You've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And please share this episode with other teachers who might be interested in this topic. See you next week for a new episode.